Hi, I'm Yedidia Zayden, Associate Partner at Raffingers, and I'm here to tell you about the proposed changes which the Office of Tax Simplification has recently announced. Back in July, the Chancellor gave the Office of Tax Simplification a brief to find ways to simplify the capital gains tax regime. Now, they've come back already now with their report. They agree that it's a shorter than usual time frame, and they've come with some drastic proposals to bring capital gains tax rates in line with those of income tax. The reason they've done this is to bring in more income for the government at a time when they've had to fund various schemes to deal with the COVID pandemic. Rates of capital gains tax traditionally have been lower than income tax, principally because investments are usually made from funds which have already been taxed, and also to encourage longer-term investment. So it's surprising that the government has proposed to increase the rates. At the moment, tax rates are 10%, at the lowest, 28% for a high-rate taxpayer who sells property, and the proposals are to increase those to as much as 45%. Also, everybody in the UK has an annual allowance of £12,300, after which they don't pay any capital gains tax, and the proposals are to decrease this to £4,000. Now, at the moment, only about 265,000 people in the UK pay capital gains tax every year. So you're wondering, what does this really have to do with you? Well, consider the following scenarios. Let's say somebody's put aside a small share portfolio for his retirement, and he's going to realize £15,000 of gains on that portfolio. And under the current regime, he'd pay £270 of tax. Under the proposals, the tax would be £2,200. What about somebody who's bought a second home to fund their retirement? They're a high-rate taxpayer. They are looking to make a gain of £250,000 on this property, and they have other smaller gains besides. Under the current regime, capital gains tax at 28% would cost them £70,000. Under the proposals at 45%, they would pay £112,500. Now, there is some relief within the proposals. Indexation allowance, which compensates for the rate of inflation, is proposed to be brought back in. In fact, indexation was removed from the legislation a few years ago because it was deemed to be too complex. So the Office of Tax Simplification is now bringing that back in. The 135-page report suggests that the way the capital gains tax regime is set up at the moment is counterintuitive and distorts taxpayer behavior. What they mean is that people are structuring income to look like gains, so they should pay less tax. Now, they may be right, but I don't agree with what they say, that the tax regime distorts taxpayer behavior. Governments have always put tax regimes in place to influence our behavior. For example, they tax petrol cars and they offer incentive on electric cars to incentivize us to drive greener vehicles. In any event, these proposals are on the table, and now would be a good time to review our portfolios, review business structures, come in for a chat, and consider the planning opportunities available.